All right. Good morning and good afternoon and good evening. DayTraderRockStar back here with you. Tonight is a special show. It's a get back in touch with you night. It is almost 10 o'clock. I tried to get back. I came back a little early from my vacation. Not because, it's because I've been taking a lot of time off and I just felt uncomfortable being away. And I'm glad to be back. We got back into the market today. I got back into the market and we actually had a great day. That was up nice. And not on much, mostly on my swing trade. So I want to go over a couple of position trades that I'm in and kind of give you a setup going into the rest of the week. Now I'm doing this live. And sorry if the mic is scratchy. You can't believe how we got to this point. I mean, I'm not even going to go into anything else. I wish I recorded all this because then I'd have some proof. But I don't think I can replicate this night ever again. But that's what happens when you miss the show. So always keep it. You know, if you want to see what's going on, keep track of that Twitter account. That's DayTradingRadio.com, or become a member of Day Trading Radio, and then get full access to the site DayTradingRadio.com. I was going to email out, but again, I got sidetracked, as I usually do in these evening shows. But the futures are moving back up, but they're only down 250. We had a pretty positive day, so I want to run through some things, kind of set us up for the rest of the week. I'll be here with you for the whole week. And I want to go through some stocks. So let's start off on this beautiful evening. Let me adjust this chart here again. All right, Baidu actually had earnings after the close. That's why you're seeing this chart up here on Baidu. Can you see that chart, by the way? I want to make sure everything's up and running fine. Yeah, you could see that. Also broadcasted on YouTube tonight. So if you're on YouTube here, welcome. But make your way over to DayTradingRadio.com. That way you can always see the show. I sporadically go on to YouTube, so it's not always on, but it's always 24/7 on DayTradingRadio.com. All right, so Baidu came out with good earnings. It popped up. I didn't have positions in that at all. But let's go over some of the positions I have right now, just to kind of start on a fresh note. On the positions I had today, I was up about $700. I had some Boeing that I picked up on Thursday while I was on my vacation. I mentioned that this morning. I took one of the contracts off, holding two. And let's just take a look at the Boeing here. Now, I love Boeing down here. I mean, Boeing at this point is looking really good. Now, if we ended up ever getting down underneath that 300 level, 280, I think that would be just a steal. Honestly, I don't think that's going to happen because we have a nice divergence here. And as you know, divergences are our number one go-to trade scenario. And a divergence here is almost a very good visual divergence, even though it kind of is hanging. Well, this one actually is a qualified divergence. That's where our stochastics on our first low are underneath the 20, and our stochastics on the second low on the 9.3 here are above the 20 on the new low. And you had a decent reversal candle. We're pushing back up. You even have a little divergence signal there. Now, I was flying home from my vacation. I was checking out all the different planes. I just love researching for some reason. I know you do too. If you're out there, you're always kind of figuring out maybe an angle for a trade and stuff. And I'm thinking, all right, I'm on Boeing. I'm holding Boeing. And I open up that little flap. It tells you what jet you're on. And there was all kinds of jets. So they had the Boeing jet. And then they had the, what's the other one? I can't think right now. The other plane company, Boeing, and come on, help me out in the room. There was three actually, and there was a third one which I don't really ever consider, and I don't think it's a public company. Airbus. Was it Airbus? Yeah, Airbus. Airbus was the second one. So they had the Airbus, whatever, and then they had the Boeing, and they had one other one listed as jets on their thing, and you can look at it and look at the plane and the seats and stuff. Anyway, Boeing is Boeing, and you know, knowing what you know and how life goes on and people traveling and stuff. We're always going to be traveling farther and faster and stuff. And planes, the Boeing has come down off of $440 down to $320. You know, that $300 level is a huge level down here. Do we even get close to it? I mean, if bad luck hits Boeing again, you know, for whatever reason, I don't know, another mishap, of course this thing is going down. But if it doesn't, this will eventually be a buying opportunity. I don't know if you're going to be looking at 2 months down the road or 3 months down the road, but you know that this company, Boeing, right now is giving you a decent pullback at this point. I mean, it's pulled back before and pushed higher. Now this is a decent pullback, and and then here's the weekly. Does it come back down here, maybe all the way down here? Either way, eventually we will be higher. So you have to take that in consideration. Shorter term traders, we have this weekly starting to turn back up. We actually have a weekly candle starting to build out here too. We just started to have a new candle. And yesterday, the weekly candle breakout of that would be the high would be 337. And 337 after that, the previous high would be 339. So that whole area there. And then today, and this high, come on, 335 was the high today. So we get back about 337, 339 area. You know, we're going to start rotating back up out of this channel. I like this trade a lot. And again, holding two calls right now on that. I have the 340 call and the 355 call. Both of them are in the money. And that's that. And then I have some BMY. Just updating you on everything I have so we could just count this. And I think we have a shot of, you know, this was a nice cross back over. This is the first break of this trend line in a long time. And I like this breakout, you know, so I'm looking for that strength. Even if we pull back early tomorrow a little, I think we rotate back and move higher. Recent highs here at 47.80 has been holding us back. So keep an eye on that level. And then here's CMC. SA. Oops. Comcast. Comcast very close to all-time highs here. We did pop out up to that 45 and change. And what typically happens is we do hit these things multiple times, these tops. A double top turn into a triple top, and then maybe a quadruple top before maybe failing or breaking out. So it's a good chance we have a shot 245, which is only a buck higher, and that level will push us up into an overbought level. So I think you get up to that level, you probably should sell instead of being the opposite. Just hope, unless you do get a good breakout on that. There was news that corresponded with a breakout, and we had volume, and that breakout and the volume and the news you would want to be long early in the day and look for a big expansion bar breakout. But until then, look for a retest of that 40, around that 45 area. All right, let's move right on here. I picked up some HXL today, and I'm really based off of what we call a closing double bottom. Mostly we can see that the price here has been holding pretty close to the closing prices. We held here, even though it's moved down. There we go. The closing price on this bar here. Do I even have a closing price? I do. It's the no, I don't. Let me see if I could just. It's like 76.85. 76.85, and the low here is 77.03. So 15-20 cent difference between that low. But look at the height and the turn back up in the stochastics here. That's what I am. Nice candlestick. Again, aerospace and defense. I mean, look at this chart. So, just like the strength in this and want to surround myself with strong stocks like this. Next one up on the thing. Kroger. Oh, no, we got rid of the Kroger today, so that has a 0 on it. I had some Kroger left over. I still have some shares on Kroger, though. But on the option trades, I'm out of all my Kroger. I do have 300 shares of Kroger. Now, I do have some Liongate film, which has not been performing at all. So I'm taking a little beating on this one. Liongate film has dropped out here, and I'm not too happy about it. Eventually, this will probably get taken out at one point, but I'm not messing with it anymore. Dumped enough into that one. Had some LK. We traded out of and into, and I held a little into earnings. And that LK holding the September 22.5 and 25s. And as you can see, LK got hit on those earnings. It did get hit. And it's making its way down. It's going into a 5 to 7 day pullback. So what I would expect, and what happens lots of times, you have an underlying trend line, probably going to get a retracement back up to the 23. Now, what point do we have a low? We have recent IPO, post-IPO low around 1380, 1370 to 1380. We're at 18 now. It's another 5 points lower. But it does appear to me that Lupton Coffee has a future. So as they went into most of these IPOs, a lot of them do pull back before reversing and pushing higher. I think this is going to be a good trade, even if my options don't play out here. I think we're going to be in this one again. Just we have to watch for the right place to enter. Maybe looking at a big volume day. Just keep an eye out for the alerts to come out for that one, because I do like that one. LUV, we're in this one. It's doing well. We had a nice gap up today at the 20. It's starting to move back up. Like to see it move higher off of this area. Back looking at the airlines here. Taking a look at all the airlines are set up basically the same. You have those divergences, and this is a good sector for divergences. First of all, you had a massive divergence here that was even too good to be picked up, because my criteria on this divergence is definitely this is definitely a good divergence, but because of this low and this low, it probably, I don't know, something didn't set up right. It needed to be that little dip down. This needed to be below 20. But visually, you can see that was one of the better divergences. And then we had pop, and then here we had a divergence set up, and even though you don't really see it, the mathematical formula that's involved in determining the divergence is marking this one as a divergence on both the 9 and the 14. That's what both of these pins, these little spikes mean. Top one is the 9 or the 14. The bottom one is the 9. Just to confuse things. And then back here the same thing. And then back here we have one. So look at the history of this. This is a very good indicator on when we deal with these type of stocks. So we probably have that. And if we want to take a look at the overview of that, we'll take a look at what is it? Jets is the ET global ETF, and we're getting that divergence here on that global ETF too. So we have that divergence on the 9-3. We had it back here in June, and we had it here in April, and we had it here back in January. Each one of these here, you can see the April one was much cleaner. We couldn't find it on the UAL just because of the chop, but here it was obvious. Oh, all right, I have to do that. All right. Just an obvious divergence. So really looking at that one to push higher.
Tradeometer ES overbought.
So I'm going to get down to, I'm going down the list here at G-Man, but I do have TBLT, but I'll get to all those. Right now I'm just looking at my option setups, and which I have mostly of. So we talked about the Liongate film, the LK, LUV, and Medtronics. All right, so holding some Medtronic into earnings tomorrow. You know that. I just want to see this thing work out. You know, it's a gamble when we hold into earnings. Sometimes you make money on the gambles. I believe in the technology. I believe that probably this will be a buy if it did gap down. So I mean, you have a couple different plays on this. You have a tremendous chart here. It's holding really good. You have earnings tomorrow, and you have the stochastic pointed in the right direction. It's just a matter of how the guidance comes out, what the market sees, and if we're able to get out of our options without a pullback, or does it run? So, you know, I'm not that concerned about it, but I would love to see it work out. I mean, that's the issue with that one. It's a gamble, right? Everything's a gamble.
Tradeometer and Q overbought.
All right, so I picked up some KHC today, just for the hell of it, because it's way down here. KHC, picked up some of that today, and gap down. It moved all the way back down here. I mean, it's basically crushed. So I do have it. I do have the. I do have that. All right, so let me get on this right here. KHC, low, you know, sell off, looking for a bounce. Oh, just reminds me, and I want to touch base on it fast. Siemens was focused on fast money, and Carter Worth mentioned it this evening, and I like that stock. I do like that stock. What's the symbol though? I don't even know what the symbol is. Siemens. What's the CSEI? Is it SIE? SIEM? Or is it SEM? AG. This might be it. Siemens. Foreign company. So Carter Worth was looking at this one. German company. Definitely oversold. And what I like about these is when you break down usually out of a pattern, and that's Carter mentioned, which I loved when he mentioned this because it's so true. You know, what you look for is either a potential channel breakdown, because that gives you a target to look for a retracement. So you have a big area from 48 to almost 56 that you can move back into, possibly all the way back up to that trend line because of this breakdown. So I like the bounce scenario here playing out. I love the bounce scenario. Closed, you know, it gapped up, it kind of closed. So I'm going to be looking at this one tomorrow. SIEG. How do I even get that one? I don't think I've ever traded that. SIG. I don't think it has options, does it? No. So it's just stock. 48.17. I know, but as a bounce play, I know it's a mess right now. That's why the stock has been crushed. So we're looking at this as a retracement bounce, oversold setup. Not believing it, not loving it, but look how far this thing has come down. Anyway, just something to look at. I'll write it down so we can keep an eye on it tomorrow. SIEGY. All right. Let's see what else is next here. All right, so some of the other ones here. I do have 3 shorts left. We did take some profits on the Sonos before earnings came out, and then earnings came out, and then today, what a nice pop on it. So the shares I have left are underwater, but we took most of the profits off of that. So I'm not going to probably mention that anymore. Still have some value left in them. Vero, let's just talk about Vero fast. Holding that lower trend line. Love to see a pop on this tomorrow. Just technically speaking, this thing is one of these cheaper stocks that technically performs pretty good when it comes to channel lines and stochastics and stuff like that. So this looks pretty good. And I know there's actually some really good news coming out. We'll be touching base on this one. I considered even adding to it again today. But I didn't. I'm going to get the word. I'm going to get the reach out. All right, so that one, and then the AUPH. This looks good. The earnings that came out dropped this one, and it's going to slowly move back up. It's going to take out that candle, move back up into this range here between 675. That's just a very positive move. I see. Let's see here. I'm looking for something here. What was I looking for? Oh, the AUPH. I was looking for my my contact on this. Messenger. Traded it past year, bought 8,000 shares, 20 up 21,000. I traded it past year, fundamentals low. All right. I took a long and all right, hold on. All right. Curious. We had this house built in 2000, the carpet worn out. We needed wood flooring. I took a long position, EXEL after array buyout. I traded it past year, bought 8,000 shares, up 21,000. Fundamentals strong, low PE with FIC advanced kidney cancer drug. The drug is better than Merck's Keytruda. Data was leaked on the first line phase 3 trial. Data due out next month. Review potential buyout. EXEL. Just coming across the wire right now. EXEL. Oh, nice. All right, so we got a new one on the board. EXEL. Thank you, Steve. You know who you are. This is very nice. I'm loving it. Loving the chart. Loving the power in this one. The volume starting to come into this. EXEL. Thanks. Data due out next month. Review. The drug is better than Merck's Keytruda. Data was leaked on the first line phase 3 trial. Just touching base. $22. It doesn't seem like a bad setup here. Let me see what the options are looking like while I have my account still up here. EXEL. He's the one that gave me the ARRY buyout. He's a good researcher, really good researcher on these drug companies. What happened here? Did I? All right. So if we're looking at 22s right now, going out 32 days. Let's go out 80 days. I like it. You know, I'm willing to put some money into this. I like the 24s. 24s are going out all the way to October. They're about $1.40. They're up $1.40 today. Wow. All right. 24s. All right, so let me write that down. I got that down. EXEL 24 calls. And I'll probably pick those up tomorrow, just for the hell of it, because he hit a home run the last time. All right, so let's continue on here. What time is it here? 10:28. All right, we're gonna roll through this. So we did the Veru, we did the AUPH, right? AUPH. I mean, they have just to finish up on it, have a pretty decent position in it. And looking for some good news out of the phase, phase 3, 2, maybe 2A, 2B trials. This is typical of this type of setup. And I think I mentioned this to someone the other day, last couple of weeks ago. I said, watch for a breakdown on this and then a reversal back into the pattern. When we talk about that pattern, here we have a clear cut breakdown of the channel here, but yet we come back pretty strong, right back into it. We'll probably trade right back into this probably tomorrow. I don't see any reason why we can't get back up there and break out. This is actually a divergence too, so put that in your pipe and smoke it. If you believe in divergences, this is a pretty decent one. That fast breakdown never really turned over on the stochastics here, so a very nice setup here. You get what I'm looking at there. All right. Now I have some other crappy stocks. I have the TBLT, and we'll see what happens with the scandal. Again, this is a penny. I have a couple penny stocks that I'm holding on to: LIXD, TBLT, ADMA, and I have a Canadian gun stock here, a PTOTF. And let's see what else I have here. The Veru, I have LIXD. So I ended up buying this one back here, like a 130, and it pulled all the way back, and then I cost averaged in down at 53 cents, and now it's trading around 63. But I brought my cost average down to about 95. So I'm underwater on this. I have 2,000. I have 2,000 shares, and not much, but enough to just make it interesting. We got some news on this, but I'm not seeing any. Well, you know what? Today was kind of an interesting little reversal. Not a lot of volume, and then and that's it. Smoke a little smoke, Viljar. Smoke a little smoke. We'll play Viljar's song right now. Just catching up with you again here, bringing it back live. Markets at the highs of the session. We just had some volume coming into the overnight session and pushing the futures up into positive territory, which is pretty nice. So we have a trailing stop on the bot channel right there, and if we move over back to the main channel, you'll see that we have just the highs of the day being taken out. So what do we have? So we want to look at, and again, I was just mentioning before, and that's when I turned on the video. I said I'm definitely bullish on tomorrow, unless there's any significant news out there that that could stun the market. Dealing with trade or just something negative. Who knows what it could be. But if everything was cool and calm and collective, I would expect a follow-through day tomorrow. And we had a pretty decent setup on this chart, the SPX. The SPX here, if we look at that daily, I went into this in detail, an old Kevin Haggerty, Jeff Cooper type of setup, the pivot point reversal. We have a main pivot right here. We had a pop back up, took out the previous high. But I wanted to pay attention to this pivot back here and this pivot now. So we had 1, 2, 3 pivots. Really, it's a pivot that is taken out after that. It's really a 1, 2, 3 channel that's developing. But if you take out this pivot right here,
filled.
That's pretty nice. And that's what we want. So I think we have a shot of doing that tomorrow. Stochastics rotated up, or at least we get some upside. I think we start at one point, we're going to be green during the day. The stocks that we're going to be looking at tomorrow, other than the ones we just went over, we had a lot of people bringing up different divergences today. I'm going to go over those on this chart for you right now, kind of point out some for you. So get your paper out. So we have a kind of a double bottom divergence here, a higher low holding above the 20 line. Okay, candles. Cigna Corporation Healthcare Plan. This is a wedge pattern breakout and a first rotation back. Does it hold here? We don't have a divergence set up, but I could see it is maybe not. Maybe it hasn't activated yet. Maybe it activates tomorrow. But something, I have no position in it. I don't see myself getting in this one. JBHT, next one. This is a little better divergence, a much higher divergence, not much higher rotation on the stochastics there, which I like. Holding the 50. Again, another channel breakout and retracement with a divergence, and that looks really good. I like this one better. I would take an early position on this, and if you saw some weakness, get out of it fast, but I think you have a better shot of the upside, so I'd be in this one pretty fast. JBHT, it's a decent enough pullback. Recent high of that pullback was 106. This is 109.99 with a divergence, and a big channel pullback. Which we're looking at right there. So I like it. You know, I like this JBHT. So definitely we'll put that one up on the screen. And then the next one we have coming up, ABBV. This is a large trend line that goes out on a weekly chart that's coming underneath the price point right now. It's right underneath. It goes out to 2013, basically 2013. Let me adjust this a bit. You can see it almost touched that to the tick here. So we have that lower trend line. We have the rising trend line. You can barely see it underneath it. It's right there. You can't even see it. And we have the divergence. Everything about this ABBV looks great. And it closed on the highs. And it just looks good. I mean, everything here is set up for a follow-through day. So ABBV here looking very good for a follow-through day. I'm going to circle that one as one of the best bets. JBHT, I'll circle that. Next one up is the Tupperware. Well, no, you know what? Let's go to I want to show you the Tupperware, but I want to show you the Rubbermaid also. Tupperware has been crushed. It's been stepped on, broken. Stock rot. We had a gap down to push up to the 20, a pullback, took out the lows, trying to push back up towards the 20. All right, I'll give you that. Now the Rubbermaid, NWL, Newell Brands, is much better. We actually did see. Alexa, when are Tupperware earnings?
Tupperware Brands, also called Tupperware Corporation, was expected to report earnings on July 24, 2019.
All right, so they're passed then. It's passed. TUP, just wanted to double check that. So this is where it gapped down on the earnings. So we're pushing back up. All right. Anyway, NWL actually had good. If they had earnings, they had good earnings, and they popped, and it's consolidating nice here. So that continues to look. I wanted to look at both of them, but I am looking at that Tupperware. HXL took a position in that today. HXL, one of the IBD 50. It's a divergence. It's close to a double bottom, closing double bottom divergence, where your price level is lined up here and holding above that line, but the stochastics are much higher than the majority of those closes. So you know what we talk about when we talk about the relationship between the price and the stochastics, meaning how the stochastics close here in the previous closes in this close compared to when it was back down at this level. So if you have a price come down to that level, and there was some history behind it, you look back at the history and you see where the stochastics were at oversold levels. This came right back down to those oversold levels. Stochastics didn't have anything to do with it. Started to turn back up. So that's very bullish. That's why I took the position on this HXL. PAYC here. This is an old Maximilian favorite. Very strong divergence here. Continues to run, almost ready to take out the highs. Just looks great. 246.37. Circle it. It's probably going to break out. If it breaks out, I want to follow Maximilian on some of his option trades there. He'll be aggressively trading that one. 3M down here. Finally looking at this again. I was in it down here, and it kind of just didn't do much. Chopped around a little lower and then pushed a little higher. I don't even remember if I made money on this trade. I could look it up, but let me see what I did on this 3M. Sold 3M, calls 476 up $2.33. So we made some money on this. I like it down here. I mean, it's 3M. We broke down through this trend line twice. Broke back up into it, came back, and then we broke back down. I like this a lot. 162. I like it a lot. That's going to be one of my favorites too. So 3M, ABBV, JBHT. I have BMY circled. Let's take a look at it. That's breaking out. I'm holding some of this. So it did break out of the channel. Looking for some follow through on this one. Yeah, that 3M quality name, definitely affected by the tariffs, but how, this thing is off of really $220 down to $162, which gives us a pullback of approximately 26%. That's a 26% pullback, 20% pullback, 26% pullback. This looks good. If we could go out further on this, let's see what we could look at on this one. MMM. Yeah, I love 3M products too. They have the tape, the Scotch tape. They have the stickums, whatever those things are. So let's just say we were in today 160. If we could go out to take a longer trade on this. We look at the Septembers. It's pretty nice. There's the max. The 170s are $1.54. 165s are 340, 350. 165s. I like those. Um, 162s though look really nice. All right, so I want to write that down. I want to look at those 162s and a half. to 165. 165. 165. Maybe the 165s then. We'll go with the 165s, which are not moving. 340, 350, 350. That is 3M, M. Don't let me forget that. I think we get back above this recent breakdown line, and we move higher. Yeah, that's good. That's a good trend line here. 166 would be the that trend line. I tell you, I think I'm going to do the 162s. To do 2 contract, maybe 2 on those, just to be in it, you know. It does have a dual divergence happening here also. And I like stocks that break down sometimes. To get those retracement moves back up. All right, so 3M is definitely on the list. And then the last one here, I don't see anything here. We have some earnings coming out. We have Home Depot coming out, I believe, tomorrow morning, HD. And of course, that's always a good stock. It's hard to go against Home Depot. I'm not guessing on that or anything. But that might have an effect on JBHT, maybe. I mean, if there's more equipment, I don't know. Kohl's is coming out with earnings. Target's coming out with earnings. TGT. I don't know if that's tomorrow afternoon. Kohl's is interesting. I mean, this is kind of interesting. I have no desire to be in Kohl's. Honestly, why am I even looking at it? Definitely like the 3M. I love the quality names like that. And look at it. I mean, that is... People are going to start... I want to look at one more thing on 3M here. Let's bring up the FinViz chart here. Sometimes we can bring up FinViz and see that... and again, if you're not seeing all this on YouTube, you need to get over to Day Trading Radio. That's where we have all these charts and stuff going up. DayTraderRockStar.com. Let's see here. So here's your FinViz chart. And I'm just going to put in 3M here. I want to look at... I just like going down and taking a look at everything they give me on this. So they give me some trend lines too. So that's a huge falling wedge pattern. Downgrades. July 12th was neutral, 201 to 183, which is still higher than where we are. 76, all right. What were these people thinking at May here with all these buys and stuff? Upgrade, $238. Upgrade. Upgrade. They should all be fired. Where are they now? BBC. Well, BBC now has outperformed. They downgraded it a couple of days ago. That means, you know what that means? It means you need to go long now. Definitely need to go long. All right, so a nice divergence too. It is a nice divergence. I'm just looking at some of the news that's going to come out on this. And again, if you're not seeing that on the screen, you're not going to see it. Can I switch it over? Let's take a look at what they're saying here. Important deadline. Shaw Law announces filing class action lawsuit against 3M. Encourages investors to file. All right, everyone has lawsuits. A lot of lawsuit stuff here going on. A lot of lawsuits. Lots and lots and lots of class action lawsuits. Lots of them. Man. it's all the news is class action lawsuits. So everyone's telling stocks to avoid into a trade war. Here's a turnaround. All right, so let's go all the way down. I just want to see if there's any insider stuff. Sale here. The Senior Vice President John Patrick's Benovitz. Senior Vice President selling some shares here. 1,000 shares. 177,000 total shares. That was a quarter of his position. Hopefully it's for going back to school expenses. This guy, director, May 17th, bought some at 169. It's 162. But a lot of sales out there. A lot of sales. All the way in March, February, sales. This guy here is really up on. Oh well. I still like the trade here. Still like it. I mean, not always gonna. You rarely get insider buying on things. So there's only a few people that can do the insider buying, and yet if you don't see it, doesn't mean it's not a good thing or not a bad thing. It's I kind of like it here. So 3M is on the list for tomorrow too, and I think I want to shut the video down and send it out so I could get this thing going. So let me do that, and if you're listening to this video, come by DayTraderRockStar.com. That way you'll see the show every day. We get on the air usually around 8:30. Between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. We broadcast all the way to 4 o'clock, and you have these special nighttime shows. And we'll see you in the markets.